Oh, Lex, what's up? Ring, 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 ring. Hello. Hey, Lex? Yeah, hey, dude. What the heck was that? Oh, I had a little goth in my mouth. Do I sound better now? You're still kind of lipsy. Were you at the dentist? Yeah, kind of got my tongue done. Well, fun. You'll have to send me a picture. Don't know how to... how you know that when it's a bit... they shred later, maybe. Are you gonna have that cute lisps when I see you next? Because I might lose it. Haha. F off. Now it's it heals pretty quick. Already had it down a while. Shame, that would have been ammo for a good hour or so. I guess that means you're out of action for a while. Not too long, though maybe give me a couple of days. In a way, wanted to get your opinion on something. How you feel about hanging out to guys again? Not any more urban exploring, alright? I don't think my heart can take that so soon after last time. Yeah, not looking to repeat that for a while either, dude. Pretty sure I mentioned before the camping trips we take in summer, right? Well, I sort of wondered if you wanted to come on one. A little notice maybe, but Kaz called up and he said to book a spot. Marshmallows, chillings, and not getting chased around by securities guards. I'm trying to do the lisp thing way too much. This weekend? Sure, I could be up for that. Anything I need to bring? It's only a day or thing, so we won't need much. Anyways, most of us pretty much suck at cooking, so we're taking pizza and chicken and shit. I figured you're good to share my tent out, right? Right. I figured on that last part, well, packing a light works for me. I'll be sure to pick up some marshmallows and stuff too, and booze, and right? Yep, not a camping trip if you aren't drinking. Well, cool. Though just text me your booze of choice. Dude, I owe ya for us getting run off at the warehouse. Alright, well thanks, Lex. Will your tongue be all healed by then? Yeah, no worries there. Awesome. Well, good. I look forward to seeing you then. Text me if you think of anything else I'll need. Yeah, I'll be great to hang out more. See you then, dude. Oh man, I'm having a real hard time stopping now. Sharing a tent. Well, I can think of a less indirect offer. I guess that fits with Lex's blast attitude to dating though. I have more than enough time to pack. A little less extreme than the last nighttime outing with Lex. Sometime with Kaze, Taylor, and Jay wouldn't be too bad either. They seemed pretty cool. I sounded like a fun time, less exciting than getting chased around maybe, but I could stand to spend some time with Lex without being terrified or out of my element. Well, in that a few days pass, maybe I'll check out what good backpacks they have at the camping store first. It doesn't seem like I need to go nuts with camping gear though, especially if we won't be cooking in icebox maybe. The next few days passed without incident. Lex's tongue had healed up, and I've given my liver a rest so that Lex's drinking game didn't take me out. We ended up taking Lex's car. Again, we had mostly bought a few bags of unhealthy snacks and half a bar worth of drinks. The backseat was a chiming, cluttering collection of beers and assorted booze. Our clothes and other essentials, in contrast, were enough to take in 2 small backpacks, with a third for the tent, an inflatable bed. Lex had brought most of the snacks. Why would you have an inflatable bed at a camping? That doesn't... Okay. Lex had brought most of the snacks and drink. They said they owed it from waiters and to pay back the trouble from the warehouse. I made them promise to at least let me cover gas, but with the campground being relatively close to the city, it didn't exactly seem like a fair exchange. I'd have to find a way to pay it back. Lex showed off the bar though through their tongues. The soling had gone down, and the whisk was still tender. Looked pretty cool. Any word from the other friends? Nah, I'll be the 5 of us this time. Vic is still stuck at his uncle's place. I poked around a couple of the others, but they're still a little hard to get a hold of. I think I got off lightly last time, but I'm sure I'll get a little. Maybe, but I think they know to back off a little. They're usually pretty chill about stuff, and while Taylor has been trying to set me up with someone for a while, they're not exactly pushy. Lex smirked at this. I thought about doing it something obvious, like reaching my hand over the center console to hold hands, but with the sun going down and the road turning windier up into the hills, their attention was held by the road. I'd have plenty of time for that later. The light was already going down by the time we got to the campsite. Jose and Taylor were already there, setting up a larger 2-bedroom tent. We mostly spent the first hour working together to get the tent up and the bed inflated. It'd be pretty cozy in Lex's 2-man tent, and Taylor's pixie smirk wasn't too far from her lips when passing by our little construction project. By the way, Jade arrived. We had an inferno of a campfire, an inferno of a campfire roaring against the night, and Lex and myself were busy ourselves dragging out the cool box of pre-chilled beers. Taylor had brought out a guitar, was strumming a little ditty. Kaze had taken off on his bike to pick up the chicken. So, you think we've got enough unhealthy crap? Probably. Well, the place isn't too far from the interstate. It's the best rest stop there with the fried chicken place and pizza joint. So if we run out of snacks, we can always go grab some. I was kidding, hon. In a way. Graham crackers are sort of healthy. Only before you put chocolate on them, Lex. The jerky then? Sort of. You really do suck at cooking, huh? Hey, it's not killed me yet. Yeah, you look good for someone who survives off chips and jerky. I'll take that as a compliment. Well, maybe it added to the curviness of Lex's hips, but it wasn't going to say that in front of Jade and Taylor. Speaking of junk, I think I can hear Kaze with the chicken. It was indeed Kaze whose bike sat with the cram full with fried chicken. the bike seat was crammed. Okay, it was indeed Kaze whose bike seat was crammed full with fried chicken. We sat up around the fire, passing beers and fried meat back and forth until we were all sitting happy, dipping chicken into the little pots of lukewarm gravy, warming our legs on the fire against the admittedly mild night. Despite the lack of any real need for the crackling fire in the mild summer night, it added to the atmosphere. I'm sure we'd all leave the campsite well smoked, like a bunch of hams. Getting that smell out of the clothes and fur was a pain, but for now, none of those thoughts were at hand. Be relaxed. So you guys got out alright the other day? After we started running, it was too crazy to keep track. Yeah, after the guard nabbed you two, we were able to get through the window again. Though next time, we should totally mark that door so it's easier to find. It sucks that you guys got caught though. Thankfully, Robo was able to talk us out of that crap. The rest of the night was pretty cool. Hell yeah, I think we'll have an office chair soccer rematch eventually. Hopefully, whatever stuff like that we do in the future, we can be more quiet about it. Not that racing off to church wasn't super fun. Oh hey, speaking of which, Lex rummaged through a bag of their side and pulled out a pair of portable speakers. Started to connect them up to some music. Good idea. I know it'll help me sleep to have the speakers playing tonight. You're one to talk. The first time I came here, I ended up sharing that bedroom compartment across his tent with your fuzzy glowing butt. Guess I don't snore. So sweet. Set up, huh? Already good to hang out in the nature and all that. Yeah, I don't camp very much, but I could entirely get used to this. The home cooking kind of weirdly helps. Just don't try to flame cook the chicken. I've learned that the hard way. It just burns up. Yeah, I guess this stuff isn't really designed for being dangled over an open fire. Let's not set ourselves on fire either. I stretched out a little, sharing a log with Lex. Got to say, with all the time I've lived here, I've never really spent much time here in the woods. Makes a change to get out of the city a bit. I don't know, the comfort of the cities are good too, but yeah, unplugged a little is pretty awesome. We should totally go on a night hike. Think for yourself, Nightlight. That's exactly how we ended up getting lost that one time. You found our way back. No, Jade. We found our way back to a camp spot that had a similar looking tent to ours. Remember? There was that family that in the tent almost got into a fight. Speak for yourself, the sun was pretty cute. I knew where I was going. All in favor of not following Jade into the woods? Though it would be good to show Robo around before it gets super late. Before too many beers. Yeah, don't want to get lost trying to find the restroom. Well, I suppose I can excuse myself from your little stroll, but it'll cost you some of that jerky. Deal do catch. That trail around the campsite was a wide circle through the trees, mostly kept at a respectable distance from the clearing set out up for the campers. It wasn't too late into the night, and past families and the other campers sitting around their own camp fires, sharing laughs and fun times. It was a quiet night. In general, the stroll was mostly on an opportunity to have a private breather with Lex. We hit the central area of the camp where the shower blocked and toilets were, and passed through a small parking lot for those camping spots off the border path. The campsite seemed pretty well maintained, but at least half of the spaces were empty. On the way back towards our camp space, we passed another group of guys our age who were quietly playing what seemed to be a metal track from a radio. See, we're not the only alternative group here. One seems to have a bucket of chicken though, so I thought we'd be the coolest campsite. Hell yeah. So, Robo, this working out? I mean, like, A date and stuff? What? Come on. I'm trying with that stuff. Sorry, Lex, but yes, I'm happy to be here with you. This was a neat idea. It kind of beats passing out on the couch again. Not that I don't appreciate that, too. You did good, Lex. Don't worry about it. Lex sighed, reassured, and held their hand out for me to take. We walked. See, we got to skip through the woods, singing tra-la-la. Don't say I don't know how to be girly and romantic. Hey, quit it. I came up to talk to you that first night when you were cussing out your phone and smoking in an alleyway. I don't need you to be someone you're not, Lex. Yeah, I know. Lex squeezed my fingers. For the record, I missed you this week. The husky stopped in the path and tugged my arm a little to make me stop and turn back to them. We stopped in the middle of the path. Lex leaned in to kiss me with the same low burning amber of passion he'd given in my hallway the other night, tilting my head with a finger and leaning in. They broke the kiss and smirked. There, ice broken? Can I stop freaking out about being a shitty friend, girlfriend, whatever person yet? Lex? I caught their jacket before they could move away and start walking back to the camp, a playful grin on my face as I forced the flustered husky to stay there, deal with our kissing for a moment longer. You're too much of a badass to be a pussy about this, so kiss me, probably before we had to go back. They looked shocked for a moment before relenting and tilting in to kiss me properly. Nana at the right as I tilted left. I found that new piercing to play with, rolling with my tongue. Lex let out a playful moan as our bodies collided on every skill. They tugged me close, pressing together for your warmth as we laughed and rolled our tongue against the others on the relative seclusive of the path. Whatever that means. After a moment that could have been half an hour, Lex broke the kiss with a grunt, wiping their glossy lips. My mouth was tingling from the intensity of the union. Robo, don't call me a pussy again, or I'll kick your ass. Come and get it. Oh, really now? Lex guided me off the path, backed up against the large trees with their hands on my hips, pushing my against the tree trunk. You think you can take me, pretty boy? You gotta have to put your money where that cute mouth is if you want to play tough. Lex gets me again with a rough and puncturing passion as their fingers laced together behind my back and pulled us hip to hip. After a moment, Lex let go of my hip. He placed a more gentle kiss on my cheek and they chuckled through unsteady breath. Ugh, fuck. I guess we shouldn't against a tree for our first time. Trust me, I like Nani and all, but it's not. It's best not to get ran off by another security guard, I guess. Yeah, okay, you escaped your beating on that comment for now. Lex gave me one hug to ensure that I would be thinking about our private tent for the rest of the attempt to socialize with their friends. Lex stepped back onto the path, pulling their pants up a little. I followed them back towards the camp. You staring at my back there? You bet I am. Lex shook the curve of their rump in those fashionable tight jeans, and I quickened my step, catch up, and slipped my hand into their back pocket as we walked. Glad to see Lex had the same look of a blissful tension as they tempted her self-control with one last kiss. Returning to the campground, the group gave a playful cheer. It was truly dark now. Not just a hazy darkness. A few hours later, after the sun had set, the fire was a lot more welcome. I was blushing pretty hard, glad to be for the darkness and severe light of fire to hide the fact that we sat down together, and Lex passed me a beer, sliding up so we were hip to hip without much concern for Hussey's playful smirk. The travelers returned. You missed the first 6-pack of beer moon. No, Bear moon. Is that blue moon? Bear moon? I get it. No great loss then. So here we all are again. Robo, you've played easy way, hard way with Lex before, right? Well, how about truth or dare? Spooky woods, lots of booze. Sounds like the best way to wing a few good stories out. Newbie. Ha, maybe. Sure, I'm game for a little while. Don't want to get you effed up tonight though. Hit me, truth. Lex, how far have you and Robo? Dare then. And don't just dare me to tell you or reenact it. A bit too late for dares that won't get us kicked out. Fine, I dare you to make the pizza run tomorrow in my outfit, bra and everything. That I pity. You're on. I dare you to sit around the camp while I do it. This is why I love camping with you two. So, Robo, truth or dare? Truth. Time to drink to something gooey. How about you tell us about how you feel about little Lexi here? Grr. Guys. Lex kinda swept me along since that first night, but I really respect them. You all are pretty cool, and I'd kicking my heels at home wishing I had a little more excitement in my life before I wasn't for meeting them. I love hanging out with you, Lex. That's close enough to saying it for me. Everybody has to drink. Lex blushed and looked like they might push me out the log, but they worked up the courage to kiss me quickly. Love you too, you fucking dope. The others let out a rowdy cheer as we toasted each other. The game with truth or dare didn't run too late though. Cousin and Jade did end up in a game of waterfall that lasted multiple beers. The game was about to turn with Taylor and Jade mutually challenging each other to a petless race to the showers and back, when our tickling and music caused a couple of mutters from nearby campsite. It forced us to quiet down. It was after midnight and the fire stated dying out, and we decided to retire into the tent. To escape the cooling night, we stole the speakers to run quietly in our cozy little tent and made our good nights before we sealing ourselves in. We kicked off our boot at the door and scrambled about on the unstable, inflatable mattress that made our little mounds a blanket and backpacks feel like we set up our bed inside a bounce house. We wobbled about this time, mostly not due to the drink, shivering a little against the cool night as we clambered under the covers fully clothed. Under the thick covers, we started to warm up. Lex's teeth quickly stopped cluttering as they hugged up to my side and I stroked their arm to help them up. It was a little strange to be in my bed, fully clothed, especially with jackets on, but the small space would heat quickly. I didn't know if Lex was too tired or it was just hard to judge as we hugged close to conserve heat, but I certainly wasn't. After our playful time out in the woods, even the cool latex cove of our tent couldn't douse off my excitement to be alone again with the husky. I held them close, turning on my side, and slipped my arm underneath their pillow and nuzzled down their hair. Lex smelled most of fire and hint of caramelized marshmallow. Suppose I smelled the same as Lex, now nudged into my collarbone. It was a shame not to get more of that woody, loose leaf tobacco smell that I started to associate with them, but I suppose it was being filtered out by the snap of my nose. A squeeze around my waist caught my attention as their snout peeked out from beneath the blankets to look up at me. They were smiling, snuggled close to my t-shirt for warmth. The content smile was cute. peeking out of the little cave Lex had made against my side. They held me close as I wrapped a leg around their own to pull us together, hands stroking their backs. We lay there together, bodies heating the bed for some time, and just enjoying the other's closeness. Lex listened to my heartbeat through my chest. The blankets pulled so high that they were basically hidden in their own little blanket cove against me. Their tight hug and the simple cuddle gave me comfort beyond the warmth as their fingers played along my back. Didn't think you'd be in this whole stuff. Cuddling, I mean. I muttered quietly, feeling the warmth of their body against mine as they pet my back in return, not resting against my arm, feeling my t-shirt, heat of their breath to warm me against the night. They snickered as their tail twitched and the blanket back and forth, and they squeezed my leg with their own. Dude, everyone likes cuddling. Might not be great at the whole public display thing, but not made of stone. Hey, you seem better at public stuff than most. I grinned and nipped my shirt, rolling my bare hands down at the waistband of my pants and tucked up inside my top. Their fingers on my bare flesh, making me prickle for a moment as they invaded the warm lair with their cool touch. Stepping around when we're not supposed to is different. I don't know, when I feel like what I'm supposed to do. It's harder for me going out to some fancy restaurant, having to act all lovey-dovey just kills the mood for me. Noted. The sound of our clothes coming unzipped and undone wasn't so subtle as our eyes locked in the low light of the tent. Dude, don't let me get cold. Hush, come here. And thus stuff happened. Yep, stuff happened. That was amazing. Yeah, it was. I could use a comfier bed for next time, maybe, but yeah. You know, you shook down their side as we lay in repose. Yeah, I think I love you too. Smile and lean in so we could share another kiss. When our bodies pressing close in a hot tent, somewhere between the start of a kiss and the birds chirping in the morning, we both fell asleep. In the morning, we slipped off the shower, not quite a walk of shame considering we snuck in the same cubicle, but definitely averted the eyes of the others a little. I'd already warmed up to them pretty well, but we weren't exactly quiet that night before. I felt like this was the start of something great with Lex, and not even much of the morning had turned dark and wet, and we spent much day in Kaze's tent, playing cards and eating pizza. The rain called off many of the previous days. Getting up to spend a whole weekend with Lex was amazing. I returned home with a spring in my step and a few little private bruises for Kobe to tease about. Hickeys, let's go hickeys. Man, hickeys are the best. I mean, like, hiding him from work kind of sucks a little bit, but at the same time, like, and you just if you haven't given one, not saying you should give one, but I'm totally saying you should give one. Yo, this is love. Pew. Hey, bed. It's been a while. So is that it? Wow, that's it. All right. So we are back. I didn't want to end the episode like that. Like we gotta go and do something. So how about we go and go back to the club? We go find somebody else. Yo, how about we check this guy out? Wait, hold on. What about this guy? Can't tell if it's a guy or girl. No, it doesn't matter. Wait, are they armless? Despite him being alone at the bar. Aww. You know what? I'm gonna pick this guy. This guy seems cool. Despite him being alone at the bar, one of the most active nightclubs I've seen in the recent memory, my eye was clung to a slender feline leaning over his book. He could sit there for a moment, and then, without cue, he could scramble frantically in the leather on the journal spread out before him. Now then, he would lift his glass from the bar and lean back, pausing to take a drink, as if someone was expecting him to. This adorable rouse was undermined, however, as we each sipped was followed by a grimace of barely contained digests. He remained intently focused on his notebook, hunched over in the table enough that he didn't notice and shimmered my seat next to him. Kaz watched as he moved, almost rooted from his Fenric writing to reaching for his glass and leaning to the wall of the bar. That was when he noticed me, and in a sudden fit of surprise, spilled my drink down. Whoa, who? Where did you come from, and who said you could sit here? His indigency seemed more due to trying to blot expensive alcohol off his chest rather than serious concern about my presence. I flagged down a waiter and ordered him another drink before offering him a napkin. It's a bar. I didn't realize the seat was taken. Anyways, I was interested in getting to know the person working harder at the nightclub than the staff. I intend my hand across the table. My name is Robo. It's a pleasure to meet you. It took him a moment getting as he could off his drink off his chest and lap before he set the napkin down and gave a thorough look over. These bright blue eyes narrowed for a moment as he hesitantly offered his hand in return. Seth. I'm Seth. Is this how you usually introduce yourself to people, Robo? Not usually, no. Just notice you're one of the other people here, not either dancing or relaxing with others. I was curious about what brought you here. You don't seem like the type. I'll admit, it's an escape, but it's also able to help me through the creative process. Many authors immerse themselves in the popular culture of their day to draw new experiences and observe people in new environments. I suppose that's true. I thought most of them indulge in parts because it was their particular interest more than their strict research. You don't strike me as the type to write romance or erotica, though. Why would you think that? I mean, I don't, but why would you assume that the only motivation for me to be at the club? Mostly because even the bouncers are wearing half the clothing you are, and because I came here with my brother Kobe, specifically because this is his favorite place to meet guys for a fling. You have to admit, your choice of ambience suggests something more than just curiosity about popular culture. By now he was blushing furiously, the spots of red visible beneath his snowy white cheeks. Despite his attempt appearing aloof, something spoke about his relative discomfort in being here. I'm not here to judge, it's just, well, interesting. I get enough stories from Kobe to get an idea of how this place tends to function, and you appear to be actively avoiding that function. Well, I'm honing my craft, trying to push me outside of my own comfort zone, so I have a bit of experience to write for him. It's the sort of things authors do. So you're a writer. What experience are you getting at? You sure you're not just lonely? So you're a writer? Maybe you've written something I've heard of before. What do you have out there? Well, I'm not published per se. I'm building a body of work before I approach anyone. Wouldn't want to come off as some sort of diligent. So you're just like the title? Do you have something I can read? I suppose that makes sense. Authors rarely have a single work to their name. Do you have something I could read? He sat upright, the slouch that had been so prevalent before suddenly vanishing. His ears perked up as well, before he glanced to the side and then back at me. It took a long moment before he responded. I suppose you could look over a couple of things. It's all still rough drafts though. I hadn't ran it by any editors, so don't expect too much. Hesitantly, he dug in the shoulder bag, sitting beside him, before producing another composition notebook that he sat down in front of me. It's mostly snippets and some poetry, I know. It's self-indulgent to play with rhymes, but you have to find yourself, your muse when it comes. He watched intently as I skimmed over his work. It was mostly fluff, fragments of ideas and the occasional clever rhyme. Each piece seemed short, as if it were cut off before completion. He seemed to have trouble sticking to an idea. Maybe that's why he was looking for inspiration. Well, what do you think? I mean, I can't expect much from what I provided, but input is always appreciated. You've got some good starters here, but most of what I'm seeing, some good open ideas like you said, but there was mostly just scribbles. But you have gotten to finishing a work yet? The muse comes and goes as is all creative endeavors. I've gotten plenty of good material to work with. I just need to find the right world to let it grow in. You seem very sensitive about your work, for someone who is writing in the public eye. Well, writing is it pulls quite deeply from my internal well. Everything I write in some ways a reflection of myself. I suppose it's easy to take things personally. Well, if I were to be so bold, what brought you to the club tonight? Since you clearly aren't driven by a desire to quickly observe, nor are you obviously looking to get drunk or dance. I'm curious as to what your motivation is. Mostly, I guess, to keep myself occupied and distracted. Kobe, my brother, very much likes this place, but doesn't always go alone. I need time away from my problems. He wanted a ride. A match made in, well, necessities. Well, then where else might you have gone if you had the option? Ignoring cost, location, or any of that. I've always wanted to travel around a bit, see a few other places. I haven't had much of a chance to get out of town, maybe even travel to another country, immerse myself in the culture. I mean, it's great here, but sometimes you just want to explore, My answer seemed to intrigue him. His head bobbed a few times in agreement as he jotted down a few notes. I've always thought it was important to learn things from another culture. It helps you to better understand your own, not to mention the sheer joy of exploring. He seemed to be rather thrilled in his spacito interrogation. He looked back up from his notebook with excitement. So, being that we are in this club and you're already expressed curiosity as to why I'm here, what do you like about this club? I kind of like socializing. When I'm feeling mopey or just have too much time, I like to find other people to be around. Conversation, laughs, banter between friends really perked me back up. He looked a little surprised, jotting down a few extra lines in his notebook before glancing back at me. I suppose I should be flattered you've directed your attention to just me, then. Extroverts commonly don't enjoy engaging with me for extended periods of time. So, we've established where you want to be and why you want to be there. But the big question is, who do you want to be with? Be there with? What kind of person would you be looking for at this club? I get the feeling that this is somewhat pointed question. I also get the feeling that there is something more going on here than just simple research. He shot me a Cheshire cat grin and placed a hand on his chest in mock shock. Clearly, he was enjoying this intimate game of 20 questions. I'm just gonna be like you. To be honest, you. I set up about exploring the club at first, but you definitely caught my eye. There's a reason I'm here and not the pool or down the stairs, or that's because you're intrigued me. You shed a whole new shade of red as I smiled from the stool next to him. Absently, he looked away to scribble down a note or two before looking back up and clearing his throat to hide his shy response. Well, it's always nice to be noticed, though I'm not usually the type to stand out physically. I wasn't sure what was more adorable, his attempts to cover up his embarrassment or the light shades of pink showing through snowy white cheeks. Alright, one more question then. I should find Kobe and figure out what he has planned for the rest of the night. I suppose I have been prying pretty heavily. That said, you have been very interesting character study, to say the least. It's rare I actually get to interact with someone. I'd hope I was more than just an intellectual diversion. I'd hope I was more than just an intellectual diversion. Is that not the case? I didn't mean it like that. I mean, it's been interesting talking with you. I've been here for a couple of hours already, and you're the first person who stopped to talk that didn't want to take a drink order. I smiled and leaned over the bar. He was awfully cute when he desperately trying to regain his composure. So what's the question? He hesitated, glancing down at his notebook for a second before scribbling something in the margins. As he looked back up, I could see his cheeks were still quite flushed. I was heading to the library tomorrow to do some research. For a story, and there was a reading I was thinking of going to. Could I convince you to come along? Sure. I'd love to. What time? Really? Great. The reading's a little before noon, but I'll be there early. Let me give you my number so you can call and let me know when you get there. He tore off the corner of a notebook page, absently minded, leaving a snippet of poetry in the upper half, and passed it to me. Thanks. I'll be nice to have someone there. It's always a little awkward to go alone. Sounds like a date then. I suppose it is. I need to get going, but be sure to call me as soon as you're up. I'll make sure to save us a seat. After gathering his things, he shot me another adorable smile and strolled off towards the door. I folded up the paper and slipped it into my pocket. Yo, what's up, nerd? Okay. Not that there's anything wrong with nerds. I'm one of the nerdiest people. I know. Too much. Maybe this guy. This guy seems cool. My hand barely touches the counter before the bartender is right in front of me. From here, I can see that his uniform, while dapper, is clearly tailored for the club. His sleeveless vest and cuffed wrists are capped by a revealing tuxedo. Breathe as well. Despite his state of near undress, he seemed quite chipper and buffs down the counter in front of me with a rag. Welcome. Hottest club in town. I'm Jack, and I'll be your beverage artisan this evening. He winked at me before continuing. What can I do for you? We can continue having this conversation next time. Never mind, thanks. We'll continue this next time. What's that? We'll talk to Jack.